is a test. Obviously, I look pretty horrible because I tried to sleep last night. I tried. I laid in bed for like 2 hours, and my head has just been hurting. My brain has just been. I don't really know how to describe the way it hurts. It's not like a headache. Now, you know how crappy I look, and after I take a shower, I'll show you the 180-degree difference that personal hygiene makes. I'm sorry. I was having fun listening to Depeche Mode. Let's get to the point. Okay, why do I have this channel? Well, okay. Last year, 2011, in about March, I was going through some very interesting experiences. And I started reading more and more about schizophrenia because I wanted to understand the neurobiology. I wanted to understand, what's going on in the human brain in schizophrenia. Because you should know, I have an uncle who's had schizophrenia his whole life. He's been on medication his whole life. I think he's in his 60s. I don't remember what year he was born exactly, but yeah. So that runs in my family, my mom's side of the family, and bipolar disorder, which at the time that some members of my families were diagnosed with it, was called manic depressive illness, or MDI. Some people call that MDI. And I realized, wow, we've learned so much about mental illness, about the human brain, about the human body, studying, what do they call them? Did I already say illicit drugs? We've learned so much about the brain, but I didn't understand schizophrenia, even though I had auditory hallucinations from the time I was a kid to about, it was just a few months before I turned 22. And when the voices stopped, it didn't seem coincidental to me at all. Let me tell you, it was a welcome relief when the voices stopped. But it was not expected, and it wasn't some random thing either, because about 18 months before, I had gone on a gluten-free diet, because guess what else runs in my family? Celiac disease. My mom has celiac disease, and she's dealt with depression her whole life. So when she saw me as a kid depressed, she was very concerned, and she knew what I was going through, and she was there for me when I needed her. And when I was mad, or I didn't want to talk, or I was just an emotional mess, and I never wanted to tell anyone about the voices, but I talked to my mom about my depression, and just accepting that my whole life I've been trying to hide something from people because I was so afraid of what was going to happen to me. I was so afraid that, I'd kept it sort of as in control as I could, even though I was not in control ever. When these voices would hit, it's horrible. It's horrible to grow up afraid, constantly afraid. You don't know what the day is going to bring. I didn't know if I was going to get through the day, and by that I mean it's not fun everywhere you go feeling anxious, feeling like at any moment, if you're in a good mood, it'll all come crashing in around you, because your solace and your peace will just be assaulted. It'll be invaded. And there was no safe place for me. There was no sanctity. So I tried to get through my childhood and my teenhood, and I thought I was going to have to, for the rest of my life, dealing with this bullshit, and that I'd have to keep hiding it from people. And then when the voices went away, I was like, oh shit, maybe my life doesn't have to go this horrible, just awful route, and maybe there's hope for me. And if I can figure out why the voices stopped, maybe I can make these other symptoms go away too. Maybe I can have a normal life, which is what I tried to have growing up. It's really pretty sad how hard, because I wasn't normal, and everybody knew it. They didn't know what was wrong with me. They just knew I was weird. I didn't talk much. I was very self-contained. I was afraid of people, and I didn't like people. And I was a little scared of them, and they were a little anxious about me because I was anxious. So, yeah, I started reading about schizophrenia because I wanted to figure out if the voices had stopped. I wanted to be able to explain why. And if I could stop the voices, even though it had been unintentional when I went on the gluten-free diet, maybe I could cure, treat, prevent, reverse my depression, whatever had happened to my brain in all those years, 13, 14 odd years from the time when the first symptoms showed up, depression, and I started hearing voices. Then I had something, a goal, a motivation that made my life seem less shitty. And, I'll just go from there and let you know that getting even a little bit better is such a huge, huge relief when your whole life you just think it's never going to get any better. So it's just going to get worse. This video is probably way too long. Well, I feel better already. All right. Happy Catterday to you. Anyway, hope you enjoyed me wasting how many minutes of your life now. I'm sure it was very precious time. I'm sorry.